This is Sierra from SieArts. This is a beautiful bloom I just made. Today we are going to do a full tutorial of how to make this awesome bloom painting. I've shared this online and people keep asking for something a bit more than a reel, so I thought I would take the time to do this today. I'm super excited about pouring on these silicone mats. I just got this one off the internet. I love it. It's just like a baking mat. It's the Guy Dream brand. You can get two for about $10. So you can leave it on that mat in the end if you wanted to. I usually peel it off and then stick it straight onto a mirror, but if you want it to be a bit thicker, it's cheaper than a canvas, so you could leave it on. The background paint you see here, my base paint, I really love to use Sherwin Williams. I like how you can just screw open and it's a smaller can. I have a bad back and sometimes that hurts with carrying those big full cans around. The color of this one is Blue Blood. I don't usually get them tinted, but I decided to try it and I was really happy with the results. Okay, so my pouring medium that I mix with my acrylic paints is 50/50 Behr 8300 Untinted Deep Base Paint from Home Depot. And then I also use Valspar High Gloss Ultra Base C Untainted Base Paint from Lowe's. And like I said, I mix those together 50/50. And then if it's still a bit thick, I add in some US Floetrol that you can pretty much find at any hardware store. For my acrylic paint, I use all sorts of brands. I use Amsterdam, Arteza, Liquidex. And then for metallics and pearls, my favorite is Modern Masters. They are really nice. But every once in a while, I also try Masters, Touch and Arteza for the metallics. You can get Modern Masters like in a bigger size and they just have some really beautiful colors, and then I don't need to use mica pigments to get that metallic, and so I don't have to use varnish, which is great because it's not as hard on my lungs when I do it this way and don't use the varnish. So definitely recommend the Modern Masters paints. No, I'm not getting paid to say that. They're just my favorite. They are a little bit more fluid though, so if you're choosing to use those, you don't need to put in quite as much US Floetrol. My cell activator is 1 part paint for 3 parts Australian Floetrol, and I used Amsterdam paint with Prussian blue and then with Amsterdam white and then Prussian blue again. I like to use all three if I really want to get good peacock cells, which are like the little cells inside of cells inside of cells, like a peacock feather. So here we go. This is just me blowing with my mouth. I sometimes use a hairdryer, but it gives a bit of a different look. I do think it comes out really nicely. If you have a strong enough blow, I recommend trying it. Even on this 12 by 12 round, spreads the paint and the look is just a little bit different. If I want to make a more deconstructed bloom, like turn it into a mountain or another type of scenery, then I use the hairdryer, but for an actual bloom where I want it to kind of maintain that flower look, I like to blow it out with my mouth most of the time. So as you can see, I'm just getting amazing cells here. These are just phenomenal, really beautiful. I'm very happy with this, but I'm also already thinking does it need to get a little closer to the edges? In retrospect, at the very end, I probably could have put on a tiny bit more base paint because I did have to go in and touch up the edges afterward. And here I'm just using a little stylus that I got at the dollar store. It's great for drawing some lines into the art. I use it to make little petals and to make little designs. I'm so pleased with how this came out. It's different on each petal and it's just so shiny and pretty. And then at the end, depending on how much I like the center, I might give it just a little swirl. So a few days later, when it's dry, you can just peel it right off the silicone mat. Maybe before you do that, you just want to check the edges, possibly run a little bit of sandpaper along them to make sure that there's not too many little jaggy bits. You also can cut little bits off too, but it's hard to get it exactly straight, so be careful. I've been putting them on mirrors. You can do all sorts of things with them, but I really like how they look in the center of a mirror. You just want to make sure you get the edges all even by kind of taking something that you can measure with and measuring all the different sides. And then after that, you can start to think about gluing it in place. I really love to use this special jewelry glue. I originally bought it for the jewelry I was making, but it works really well to glue my art to canvases, or in this case to the mirror. And you don't want too much. You don't want it to kind of come out the edges. Well, I'll just give you a nice close-up of how it looks now that it's been framed. I can't imagine being happier with this piece. Subscribe, like, share, and I look forward to seeing you again.